Hey everybody, welcome to Side by Each. We figure if we're ever going to do a cleanup video, this is probably the time to do it here. It has several inches of mud on some spots and probably adds up to 100 pounds or something. So we're just starting out here in the backyard so that we can keep all this mud and crap out of our front yard and driveway where we'll actually clean it.
That's a lot of mud.
So I guess we got most of the big chunks and most of the loose stuff off here, which aside from the mess on your driveway, it's a pretty good idea because as soon as you start hitting this with a pressure washer, it's just going to blast all those big chunks all over the place. Something we really like about the Maverick Sport, and would be the same for Maverick Trail models or Generation 2 Commanders, is how easily removable the seats are, as you can see here. So she's got those seats out in, I don't know, 3-4 seconds or something like that. And you don't want to get these seats soaked. They're pretty soft and cushy and thick, so if they get waterlogged and you go below freezing temperatures, it'll literally bulge the seat into a solid block of ice, which is not very fun to drive on. One thing we really do like about the Maverick Sport is how easy it is to clean. It's such a squared off machine with nice flat body panels. The interior is nice and flat and square, so you can actually get most of this machine just with a like car washing brush kind of thing. There's not that many nooks and crannies to have to scrub in behind and get around. As opposed to Maverick X3, which, if you get the Maverick X3 as dirty as the Maverick Sport we have right now, it sucks to clean. Another good tip for Maverick Sports and Maverick Trails and Commanders is to have the machine parked on an incline uphill a little bit, because they have drain holes here at the back of the floor. So if you're parked uphill, everything will flow backwards and flow out nicely for you. If you have it parked flat, then it's not so easy to do it that way, so that helps quite a bit as well. So we're back, it's the next day here. It did pour rain all night, but you can see that basically did nothing. So usually we're not this dirty. Normally I would just rinse the machine with a pressure washer to get the loose stuff off, then soap things up and scrub it down a bit and rinse it off. But this here is caked on enough and it's a pretty hard clay, so I'm gonna spray it with soap first and let that soak for a little bit just to loosen this stuff up, and then I'll knock it all off with the pressure washer after that. We don't use anything too fancy or specific. Usually it's just car wash, whatever happens to be on sale at the time. But today for this mess, we thought we'd try just cheap dish detergent. This was 10 bucks. This was 15 bucks. And you get about 2.5 times more in this bottle than this one. So we'll try it on the cheap today. Here's a separate wash here, not quite so dirty. So this is a pretty quick rinse off, but I will mention one more product I use sparingly. It's kind of potent. You don't want to use it on certain plastics and stuff, so it's one of those things you'd want to test on an area first and make sure it doesn't pull the color out or anything like that. But yeah, this is spray 9. What I use this for is mostly just engine degreasing. This engine here is due for an oil change and so are the differentials, etc. And I'm going to do some clutch service as well, so I'm going to get this all extra clean under here this time. So I'll just spray it down with spray 9, let it sit for 10 minutes or so, and then give it a really good rinse off to make sure there's none left on there. So this is a pretty good product I wanted to mention as well, called Spray 9. As far as equipment goes, nothing too fancy here either, just a cheap $100 pressure washer. It comes with a little foam cannon kind of thing. Served us pretty well for its price, and probably has, I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 100 hours on it, I'd say, over 2 years. So next we'll just get this thing soaped up and let it soak for a little bit. Okay, so we got that all soaped up with dish detergent. Now we'll just leave it sit for 5 or 10 minutes to try and loosen some of this mud and clay up here, and then we'll come back and do a spray down with a pressure washer. So here we are about 1 hour into the job. Dish soap did a pretty good job, better than I expected actually, so I may just continue using it. So yeah, it was about 5-10 minutes in the backyard, just knocking off all the large loose chunks we could get off. Then we sprayed it with dish soap, let it soak for 10-15 minutes, and then we pressure washed, I'd say, for between 30 and 40 minutes, and that includes all the engine compartment underneath and all the nooks and crannies. So it's pretty much 99% clean. There's the odd little stain on the yellow parts you can see from the clay, but if you really wanted to take it to the next level, you could just soap it again, give it a quick scrub down and rinse, and you'd pretty much be in showroom condition. Other than that, I'll check my rad. It'll get a little darker here. I'll stick a flashlight behind there and see if I can see light coming through it. It was submerged, probably down to the bottom 1/3 or so, and kind of plugged up. And other than that, I'll pull the winch rope out, the synthetic rope, and give it a good clean, because it was submerged in quite a bit of mud too. So we'll show you how we clean our synthetic winch rope. All right, so you can see here we have the winch rope all unspooled and tossed into a 5-gallon bucket. Next, we'll fill the bucket enough to submerge the rope, swish it around a few times, and rinse and repeat until the water comes out clear, which usually takes about 5 or 6 times. You can see the rope is quite dirty here, which isn't good for these ropes. It dries out and it kind of gets abrasive, and it'll start wearing your rope out over time. So you could use a mild soap as well. We usually just use water, but one thing, definitely do not use chemicals on a synthetic winch rope. And after taking a closer look at my radiator, I can see there's still a little bit of mud and gunk stuck in the bottom of it, so I'll get that all sprayed out. And at the same time, I'll also spray the winch itself out. Something I like about the low-powered pressure washer is it's gentle enough to hit the radiator with at a reasonable distance without any risk of damaging the fins, but obviously you wouldn't try this with a high-powered pressure washer. Also, while I'm at it, I'll hit the winch itself and get it all cleaned up inside. So here's our first rinse of the winch rope here, and you can see how dirty that water is. So here we are after 6 rinses of the winch rope. You can see the water is pretty much coming out clear now, so we're going to call that good. Other than that, normally we would try and let it dry out if we can in the air, but we have to load this machine tonight for the morning, so we're just going to reel it right back in, and that's how we clean our winch rope. All right, so here we are, all washed up, ready to go for tomorrow's trip. Looking good. I do have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the dish soap, considering this was no scrubbing involved. This was just soap the machine up and spray it off, which, considering how dirty it was, this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I've tried some other methods, like I said, from car soap to Simple Green, which Simple Green I don't really recommend personally, in my experience at least. I find it to be kind of useless, to be honest. A couple of advantages of the dish soap I'll mention is it seemed to stick to the machine quite a bit better and loosen up the dirt quite a bit better than other stuff I've used. And also, when using it in the foam blaster, which I use 25% soap and 75% water, by the way, it seemed to go a lot farther, as in the soap dispenser would empty maybe half as fast as if I was using something else. Probably because the soap is so much thicker, it just sucks up through the soap dispenser that much slower, so it actually went a lot farther as well. The sun's just about to set here, but I hope you found this helpful. If you did, give us a like and a subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.